sit back, relax, and enjoy this great share.
Now let's welcome our speaker, Jack.
Nothing, no praying going on in here? Sorry. I'm Jack Grisham and I'm an alcoholic. I'm glad to be sober. I love being sober. I love being here, and I want to thank myself for coming out tonight. And I know that may seem a little ridiculous and egotistical to some of you, but I was asked one time, I have a friend, he's like a priest, and he asked me one time, he said, do you ever thank yourself for doing this? And that's not crazy. I'm not going to thank myself for doing this. But he got me thinking, like anything else around here, I think about it. Somebody says something, I start thinking about it, meditating, going over it. And my kid called me, my eldest daughter called me, and she had just left Djibouti. She was surrounded by pirates. She's on an oil tanker, and just, she called me and wanted something from me. She wanted something calm. She wanted me to write something, send something to her, and to help comfort her. And after I got off the phone with her, I walked into the bathroom and I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, thank you. Thanks for being a good dad for that little girl. Thanks for being more than a sperm donor. Thanks for showing up. And then I look at Alcoholics Anonymous and the way it's been for me for the last a little over 35 years. And I look at myself in the mirror and say, thanks for showing up. You know, and if you don't think that this is a measure of will, that will doesn't come into it, read our book. It talks about it. It's not about God's will versus my will. It's an alignment of will. And it has taken every amount of will I've had to show up for some of this stuff, to make amends, to face people, to keep going, to drive out of the place, whatever it takes. And I'll tell you, I've been here a bunch of times before and I didn't do a damn thing. I didn't do anything. And I hear these guys go, well, God's responsible for my sobriety. God's this, God's that. Ask God to make the coffee in the morning. See what happens. There's got to be a lot of pissed off people in the meeting because God didn't come through on that one. Anyway, I got to do this stuff, and I got to show up, and I got to be actively involved. And there's this great W.C. Fields quote. You're not going to be able to find it. I might have made it up, but I'm attributing it to him. And are we in a church or just the gym? It's a church? All right, I'll watch it. All right. And the quote is, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him F the fish. And you just fill that in on your own. And I have not been yet struck down. Anyway, it takes active intercourse with a program of Alcoholics Anonymous. You got to get involved, man, because I watch and people take from us all the time. You will watch them. People take from us. They will come in, they will take our kindness, they will take our love, they will take everything they can from us. But it's not until they get involved. That active intercourse. Getting involved here in this. Anyway, sometimes I think, you know, what's my experience in AA? What do I think about it now? I wonder if the Jack that was here 10 or 12 or 15 years ago, what do I have in common with him anymore? I don't know. I don't even know what I have in common with Alcoholics Anonymous anymore. Every day, sometimes I will sit in the meeting and just wonder, where the hell am I? Where am I? When I grew up and got sober, I never heard a long-timer claim how many men he sponsored. Ever. I sponsor 35 men. It's like, are you kidding me? How prideful can you get? I used to collect soldiers, little plastic soldiers when I was a kid too, guy. I don't wander around collecting sentiment beans. I got invited one time to speak at a sponsorship conference, which had to have been a mistake, but I'd never been there. You know what I mean? It was a free plane flight, so I went. And I was stoked. jokes, man. And I got there and I walk into this place and it's huge, it's packed, right? And it was so funny when they were coming in, you know, it's like the mommy sponsor would come in and the little sponsor ducks behind and the sponsorship families. And you know what scripture says about that? You know why these people call themselves sponsor? Because they want the best seat at the table. That's why. So I walk into this sponsorship conference, they got pad and paper and book and they're ready to go. And I'm basically straight, but I do like role play and show tunes. And so I walk in this conference, I say, all right. Let's have some role play. And they're very excited. They got pad and paper. They're ready to go. They're intense. They're going to learn something. I go, all right, let's have role play. Let's pretend that you have a sponsee. She, he, they, zer, whatever the hell, this person. And they come to you and they say, I'm going to split my home group. I'm out of here. They got 5 months sober. I'm going to split my home group. I'm out of here. I'm going to go out of state. I'm out of this group. I'm going to go out of state and take over a company. And I'm going to be president of that company. I go, well, what would you say to your new person if they came up to you and said that? Slight hesitation, then a hand goes up. I wouldn't make any major decisions in my first year. Woo! They all start clapping. They're stoked. Another hand goes up. I'd tell them to work closer with their sponsor and made sure they finished all their steps. Woo! Then they start going and going. More hands. They're excited now, right? So I had thrown that triple barb hook out as far as I could, and they swallowed it and ingested it, and they kept going. They were frothing at the mouth with these great suggestions about what this new person should do. And I waited until that triple barb hook was coming out their asses. And then I just tugged it. Said, well. Thank God none of you were sponsoring Bill Wilson when he said he was going to take off to Akron and take over a company in a hostile takeover and be president. Thank God none of you were sponsoring him, because you would have stopped him from going. And he never would have met Dr. Bob, and not one of us would have been sitting in this room sober, because you knew what that person was supposed to be doing. What have we stopped in 80 years? That's what I wonder. Some people ask me, sometimes new people, they say, what do you think's the hardest line in the big book? I'll tell you what it is. Quit playing God. That's the hardest line for an alcoholic to follow. Because all of a sudden we know what this new person needs to do, where they need to go, what steps they need to work, what order. I start looking around the room and I see spiritual pride. Hey, you may have a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, but not everybody that works those steps has an awakening. Watch it. Be honest about it. I see people all the time around here, they work these steps and they don't have an awakening. They think that by working these steps, sometimes you're going to get some magic thing. I watch these new guys now, they study. Somewhere down the line, our two tenets of love and service have been replaced by knowledge and control. Oh, look at me tonight. Here's where this is going. All right, anyway. They think by memorizing the big book, studying each line and quoting it, that somehow they're going to have a better sobriety. No, man. You still got 13 days, punk. I don't care how much you quote. You can plant a redwood seed out in the yard, and you can read about the soil, read about the atmosphere, read about it all. And that thing's still going to take 100 years to get solid, no matter what you know about it. Anyway, when I got here, I was living at my mother's. And if it was up to my mother and she was still alive, I would still be living at my mother's. The Al-Anon people never got one hand on my mommy. The blood of the lamb was spray painted on our front door and the Al-Anons drifted right on by. I would get arrested, and my mother would say, "They're always picking on you, sweetheart." I would be passed out anytime, day or night, normally with my pants off. And on a side little ADD note, I was so mad when cigarettes got the skull and crossbones. Like, I wanted, booze bottles to get cool stuff like that too on them. Like, warning, may cause claustrophobia when you drink it. Because when I start drinking, shit gets tight. I start loosening stuff up. And I'm normally found in a state of undress. So if the neighbors found me in the morning undressed, laying in their lawn, and came over if they had the balls to complain about it, my mother would say, "Leave him alone, he's an artist." It's rough. She was trying to kill me. It's a shock I'm not a serial killer. I tick every box. I just don't have any kills. But she was heading that way. And how did I get to you guys, this esteemed group? A buddy of mine got busted on a cocaine trafficking charge. That is not an outside issue. It's inside. It was going inside him. It was going inside me. It was an inside issue. He got busted on it and he goes to court. Now, I believe that more alcoholics are created in court than anywhere else in the world. It's not the first drink, it's court. Because hundreds of thousands of us go into court every day non-alcoholic. And we get in front of the judge. Judge says, "Mr. Smith, you're looking at a year sentence. But if you're an alcoholic, you could do a 90-day treatment program." I'm an alcoholic, Your Honor. Everybody is now, right? No, not so. We had some new people here. I'm your friend. I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't know if you'll hear it anywhere else, but you'll get it from me. Don't come in here and start blowing smoke up our asses. Don't tell us how stoked you are to be sober. My friend Frank Honeycutt used to say, "If you're brand new and happy to be here, you are too sick to stay." And I believe it. This is bad news. Your whole life, your plans, everything has ended you up in Alcoholics Anonymous. That's where you ended up. I was in a meeting one time, I got this guy sitting next to me and I can feel his distress. You know when you can just feel it, right? I could feel it. It was almost like my imagination does go sometimes, but it was almost like it smelled like burning foil in a microwave. And I looked over at him and I could see he was a little stressed out. And he looks at me and he says, he's brand new, he goes, "But Jack, I have a PhD. I go, "Yeah. And you're sitting next to a guy who's got shit in his pants." "What now, doctor?" Anyway, he has never been back. But the issue is, so if you're brand new, tell us the truth. We know you're not happy about this, man. Just go, "Yeah, it's a bummer. My sponsor's got control issues. I'm sleeping in a room with 6 other dudes. I'm blah, blah, blah." Just give it to us. And let me tell you why. Because love and tolerance is our code. That's our code. You can walk into this meeting, flip us all off, yell, cuss us out, turn around and walk out the door, and we'll clap. We will clap. Future secretary, yeah, get it, guy. Because if you got our illness, this is what's scary about this. If you have our illness and you leave this room and you go out and do whatever you're doing, the best you can hope for is that you come back. That's the best. The other reason you might as well tell the truth around here, because no matter what you say, someone will disagree with you. You can stand up here and say the ocean is wet. Somebody will come up right behind you and go, "No, it's not. Not along the edge, it's not. It's extremely dry on the edge." And I'm saying that from personal experience, because I made that joke about more alcoholics created in court one time. Like, you know, it's funny, it's a joke, it's kind of true, it's funny. It just popped out of my head at a convention, right? And this dude walks up to me afterwards and he's huge and I'm huge. And he's huger than my huge. And he's got like bad tats all over him. He goes, "Can I talk to you, man?" I go, "Yeah, what's up, guy?" He goes, "I did the year, dog." I go, "What?" He goes, "I did the year." I go, "Then you're a stupid alcoholic, man. Oh my God, if you don't got enough sense to come in here and plea out to stay out of jail, dude, you better come on up in here and start working some steps because you're going to die out there at that weak-ass game." Anyway, my buddy gets busted on a cocaine trafficking charge. He goes to court, spiritual, up there, goes to the treatment place, you guys in H9, pumping full of the spirit or whatever's happening there. And he comes back to Long Beach where I'm living with my mommy. And he starts out as a reformer. He's gonna come back and save the neighborhood. Where do you think his first stop is? I used to say my house, but at 20 years sobriety, I got honest. My mother's house, but I ran it. Anyway, so I get this. Hey, what's up, man? He goes, "You got a problem, dude." I go, "What?" He goes, "You're an alcoholic." I go, "No, I'm not. I live with my mom." Well, let me tell you what was going on at mommy's house at the time. I had warrants out for my arrest. So what? I always have warrants out for my arrest. I also had restraining orders. Now, I believe that if you've never had a restraining order, you did not really love them. I will prove my devotion. I also have people trying to kill me, both real and imagined. And this guy's telling me I got a problem. I walk him away from the front door. I don't want my mother hearing talk of alcoholism on our porch. Even though my dad's been here on a court card, my brother came here on a court card, my uncle came here on a court card. I don't want my mother hearing that kind of talk. I walk him outside. He says, "Come to a meeting with me." I go, "A meeting? A meeting of what?" He goes, 12-step meeting. Come on down. I go, "No. No way, dude." He goes, "Come to a meeting." "No." "One meeting." "No." "Come to me." "No." "Just no." "One meeting." "No." "Just come to me." "No, man." "One meeting." "No." "Come to meeting." "No." "One." "No." "Just no." "One meeting." "No." "Just come to me." "No, man." "One meeting." "No." "Just come to meeting." "No." "One meeting." "No." "Just come to meeting." "Okay, I'll go." Now you know why I said I'll go. Because I'm an alcoholic. And I'll say anything to get you to shut up and leave me alone. Including, I'm Jack Grisham, and I'm an alcoholic. I got a couple of problems with Alcoholics Anonymous, as you might imagine. And it's not with the book. I love our book. Love our book. Not with the concepts, not with the traditions, the steps, gorgeous, beautiful, so proud of us. I got a problem with the membership. Just like Bill, you ever looked at our traditions? That's a fear-based decision that's worked out quite well for us. Could you imagine creating something this cool and realizing you were going to leave it in our hands? You ever been to an AA business meeting? Terrifying. Anyway, my problem's with the membership. We're too quick to get the new man and the new woman to say they're an alcoholic. And we push them into it. Say you're an alcoholic. Say you're an alcoholic. Don't say addict. God damn it. Say you're an alcoholic. Say you're an alcoholic. And you get these new people claiming alcoholism and they don't even know what they got. They're just saying it because you want them to. And let me tell you something. They might be telling the truth. You can be lying and tell the truth just like you can be telling the truth and be lying. Anyway, if you're brand new and you're claiming alcoholism, I'm sorry to be the one to tell you this, it's a fatal illness. Stop worrying about the mole on your back. It's the booze. And not only is it a fatal illness, but according to our literature, it's a fatal illness that only a spiritual experience or a God experience can arrest. Do you have any idea how terrifying that is? Do you imagine? Going to your doctor, you go to the doctor, give a test, you come back 3 days later, you go, hey, how'd it go, man? He goes, fatal. What? Fatal. You don't even need to pay your bill, young man. You're fatal. It's fatal, and I don't really believe in God, but I favor prayer in cases such as yours. Oh my God. If you went to the doctor and heard that, you would shit your pants. And what happens when the new people hear that? Fatal illness, what do? They walk outside and vape and have a cookie. You ever wonder why? Because they don't believe it. They don't believe it. And you can't make them believe it. There's no small measure of pride in these rooms. I love hearing these guys, they go, I make my man do a thorough first step before we proceed. I make him do a thorough first step before we proceed. Really? You make your person concede to their innermost self that they're an alcoholic? How the hell do you do that? We could use you in the Middle East. You can't make someone believe in this. You can't make someone believe they're an alcoholic. You know what the definition of insanity in the big book? All these guys, they always go, insanity is repeating the same thing, expecting different things. No, man. You know what the big book says insanity is? A lack of proportion to see the truth. I'm not fat. These pants are tight. That's a stretch waistband, bitch. I'm not an alcoholic. Those cops are pricks. I'm not an alcoholic. It's my mother. Even when the facts are laid straight in front of you, you still can't see it. And you can't make them see it. Anyway, after telling this guy I'd go to a meeting with him, I turned around and I walked back towards my mom's house. I just agreed to go, and I had a moment of clarity or a spiritual awakening. Now, I don't know about you, but I have never had a pleasant spiritual awakening. All of mine have been, shit. Because I see something in me that I could not see before. And I had one. My perception as an alcoholic is always from here out. What you're doing, what she's doing, what they're doing, what they're doing, what they're doing. I believe that first spiritual experience or awakening is when I figuratively step out of self and look back and say, what are you doing, man? Look at you, guy. Look at this, look at this, look at this. And I walked away after telling him I'd go to that meeting, and I had an awakening. And I thought, how often have you been drunk lately? I thought, every day, man. God damn, every day. I have been drinking every day for as long as I could remember. Drinking, smoking weed, little pills, little cocaine, whiffing Pam, whatever the hell it is. Every day for as long as I could remember. And I woke up just a little bit. Thank God it was only just a little bit. I couldn't imagine if you woke up completely your first day in Alcoholics Anonymous. You know how terrifying that would be? Be like, yeah, we have cookie, coffee, and rope for the new man. You can hang yourself or go one more day, champ, whatever you want to do. Because when you wake up to this, and I don't care how long you've drank, if you have the root of this illness, which is selfishness and self-centeredness, and you wake up, you will realize that you have made decisions based on self your whole life. And just like Malcolm X said, just an old country boy and those chickens are now coming home to roost. Terrifying. But thank God I only saw a little bit. I went to the meeting with this guy. My mom found out I was going. She's like, are you going to that A&A, sweetheart? She was so stoked. I go, yeah. She goes, you want a couple dollars for coffee? I go, I need 40. They got dues down there, Mom. Hey, and who am I to stop her from being helpful? Anyway, so I roll into the meeting. Here's how I roll a meeting. I got old shorts on. I got these ragged old shorts on. I got a Dickies work shirt with just cigarette burn holes all over it. All my clothes had burn holes. Because I'd be smoking. I want to say something to you. Should I put my cigarette down for a second? Somebody go, dude, man, you're on fire, guy. You're on fire, asshole. Just out of control. My hair at the time was down to my elbows. Little do I know I had a Jolly Rancher stuck in the back of it. I guess that I had gone to sleep with the rancher in my mouth, and it slid around the side, and when I got up, I'm like, I'm good. And I went to a meeting, and one of the women around here gave me a sober haircut and found the candy. She goes, what is that? Is that a Jolly Rancher? Hey, and here's just a quick question. This is just, I have not got an answer for this, but you look like you might know something around here. When did the men, this is a serious question, when did the men in Alcoholics Anonymous go bad? Okay, think about that. Because it's always stay away from the men. Stay away from the men. Stay away from the men. He's an inappropriate hugger. Stay away from the men. When did the men go bad? Because in the beginning of Alcoholics Anonymous, read the history, the women were bad. You weren't wanted in our meetings. They don't want fallen women by us getting into our business. Have you ever read the story about Sybil? You ever read Sybil's story where she was 2 weeks sober and they didn't want her in the meeting? They're like, yeah, meeting's starting. It's like 1940, right? Meeting starting, and they wanted her out. But then that Jack Alexander article came out, and they were flooded with requests from women, and they only had one. They had one woman with 2 weeks sobriety. So they gave her 300 sponsees. Oh my God, could you imagine that these days? How you doing, sweetheart? How long you been sober? Oh, I got 2 weeks. Well, what's going on? You doing? Yeah, I'm sponsoring 342 people. What? We would surely shut that down. And yet she stayed sober for 40-something years. So glad we weren't there to stop it. Anyway, all right, that was a full sidetrack. A train just went off somewhere. Anyway, back to this. So that's how I roll into this meeting. Jolly Rancher, Dirty Burn. I walk in that meeting. I remember walking in. Yeah, loser, scumbag, what's up? I know that dude from school, and I'm not like you. And let me tell you why I'm not like you, because I'm a smooth drunk. I'm a Cary Grant drunk is what I am. I start drinking and my cheeks get numb right here. And I start smiling real big. A couple more drinks, I decide I'm gonna take a walk. It's night. I head down the street. I see a light on. So I come up and knock on the door. Hey, saw the light on. What you doing in there? Who are you? I'm a visiting drunk guy, man. I'm the kind of drunk that shows up in your picnic. It's like, do you know that guy, man? It's like, what's up? I like you. Give me a drink, I like you. Give me a pill, I will cuddle afterwards. Anyway, I walk in that meeting. You want to know what I heard in that meeting? I heard pride. Pride. I heard people talking about it with pride about the damage they have done to others. Listen to it, man. Listen to it. We get these speakers with these horrific stories. We go, what a great speaker. What a great talk. Really? Call the victims. Call the victims and see if they think it's a great talk. I can tell you that even after 35 years of sobriety, there are people that don't think I give a great talk. Some of the best amends I ever made were from the people that refused to see me. Because I wanted to make it right. I wanted to be on the sunny side of the street. I wanted to give you a good report. I'd like to come over there and talk to you. No, thank you. No, thank you. Through those amends, the people that didn't want to see me, I learned that we do damage sometimes that cuts so deep that it will never come back. I learned to hold that. Anyway, I got sober on January 8th, 1989. I don't know why that day. I'd been in and out for a year. It was a Sunday. Why that day? But I stayed. I stayed. For almost 2 years of my sobriety, I was around here hanging out, saying I'm an alcoholic, and thank God for the community, man. The community. I would much rather see a newcomer with a broom in his hand than a big book any day. Any day, man. Thank God for the community. They got me involved. They got me around. I'm here, and I'd say I'm an alcoholic. Little voice says, no, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. I was almost 2 years sober. I was surfing one day. It was gorgeous. I wasn't working. Beautiful day. Surfing, I get out, the sun's, salt water's crackling on my skin. I go to the noon meeting. I walk in. I get my smokes, got my cookie, my coffee, I sit down. Back then you could still smoke in the meeting. You could tell how long somebody had been sober by the color of their hair. Because there'd be these old guys with stained yellow hair from the nicotine. You know, it's like, oh my God, he got here in the 40s. Anyway, so I sit down, I'm gonna participate. Now I haven't done any of this crap, but I'm gonna participate. I got something to say of it. And I had another spiritual awakening. It's like the old Groucho Marx show, a little duck flew in, sign comes down off the duck, and the sign says, F you, you're going again. And I saw myself. I saw every time that I had gone straight and failed. Every time I said I was going to be good, every time I show up, I'm going to get a job, I'm going to go to church, I'm going to stay away from those people, drunk, over and over again. And I realized that this time was just one more time. And I knew that one day I was going to say, I don't need you, and I'm gone. And I was going to split from here. And when I had that unpleasant awakening, I got terrified. And I thought, okay, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? I thought, well, what did they tell? What did they tell new people? They say, you want to get sober, you better study that book, study that book. Well, I saw guys quoting Big Book. I was picking them up out of hotels. They were drunk quoting Big Book at me. And then they say, oh, you want to make it sober, new person? Get a great sponsor. I saw people with great sponsors, and these people got drunk. Then they say, get a commitment. And I watch guys with commitments get drunk. Self-knowledge, human power, all that. I knew it wasn't going to help me. And then I looked and I saw this old guy, George Davis. And George Davis got sober, late 40s, early 50s. And I saw him and I thought, man, but he's sober. That old man's sober. And if I do what that man does, if I launch in and do everything that guy does, then I can be here too. What I learned when people talk about bottoms, it's always conditional. Circumstance, circumstance, circumstance. There's a great quote by Nietzsche. He's talking about the kingdom of God. And he says that the kingdom of God is not a place in heaven. It is a condition of heart. Condition of heart. And what I realized is the same thing with a bottom. A bottom is not circumstance. A bottom is a condition of heart. Anyway, all right. I want to thank you. Okay? Okay? Do we have any questions, right? Yes, please.
Thank you so much for your speech. Can you tell us how you were able to stay sober one day at a time, like in the morning time, or is your daily activities in the morning to stay sober?
Okay, so how do I stay sober on a daily basis? I treat myself as a newcomer. I still think that I'm a newcomer. To me, it's unbelievable that people count as a long timer. A long time on what? On the timeline of the infinite God? You're claiming time? I treat myself as brand new. I go in the meeting. What can I learn? What can I see? I know people that won't even listen to new people. They think they got nothing to say. It's like I have learned more from new people coming in and how they see us and what we do and what we look like. It's like, so to listen constantly. I go to a lot of meetings. I visit with a lot of people. I stick my hand out constantly. I'm the coffee maker on Friday mornings. I make sure that coffee is done and ready when people come in, they got a cup of coffee. That's what I do. I am as involved today. I had a guy tell me, he died sadly 2 weeks ago. But he asked me one time, and I looked at him, I said, dude, I got no new information for you, man. I got nothing. He goes, well, what should I do? I go, I don't tell people what to do. But if it was me, I'd have my ass down there in those meetings every day, and I'd grab a broom, I'd be sweeping up, and I'd be everything I could to put that skin in, every day. And he looks at me, he goes, every day? He goes, that sounds a bit excessive. I go to these meetings not because I have to, because I want to. This feeds me. This feeds my soul. Going in there and listening to people talk, doing those readings, doing this. When do you walk away from this? What part do you walk away? You know, I hear these guys act like they do these steps and they stop. Why would you ever go away from this? Why? And when I do my morning walk around the beach, I consider myself an ambassador or an apostle of my neighborhood. My job is to be kind, to be loving, to be kind, to stick a hand out, to be welcoming. I read a great thing that Bill Wilson wrote, 1950, speaking here in LA. And he said, look, man, people make a big deal about working these steps. Why don't you just go through your day and try to be nice? Try to be helpful. Try not to hurt someone. Try to be kind. And at the end of the day, when you review, you will find that you have worked all 12 of these steps.
Don't have a restraining order out there, you never really love them.
Okay, wait, I didn't catch that last bit.
Do you still believe that if you don't have a restraining order out there, you never really love them?
I still can't hear it. Goddamn darn. What?
Don't have the restraining order on them.
Oh.
You still love them.
Oh, really? Yeah, okay. She asked you, if you don't have a restraining order, do you really love them? That's a wonderful question. Sadly, I wish the answer was that romantic. I think that where I am now, I have the ability to love and walk away. And even though that may seem, I think it's called compersion. I think that's what the word is. It's the opposite of jealousy. It's that you just want the best for people. You just want them to be happy and the best. And I'll tell you, I got 2 daughters. That was God's little joke. Gave me 2 daughters, man. And, you know, it's the same thing with Alcoholics Anonymous. I want people to come in here and fall in love with this like I did. But it's like my daughters. I can't make them fall in love with the right guy, man. They come home and no, you know, but you don't say no, because then they're going to go double yes on that no. You go, oh, he's looking good. I really like this young man. You should marry him. Anyway, so no, I would walk away now. And that is kind of a joke. I don't mean to offend anyone when I say that. Yes, please. Yeah, my relationship with my mother. She asked about the evolution of the relationship with my mom. My mom was not well. She was emotionally, physically abusive. I was sexually, physically abused as a kid. I defecated myself until I was 10 or 11 years old. Just very uncomfortable. I didn't know how to be an adult. I didn't know how to be a man. I didn't, it hurt when people touched me. When I first got sober and started these things, and those are not pleasant awakenings coming into that. I used to force myself to give out chips at the meetings so I would have to hug people because it hurt when they touched me. I could sleep with anyone, but I could not accept kindness and love. With my mother, I had to see her not as a sick man. And you know, the big book says, see him as a sick man, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I got to go further than that. I got to see them beyond the sickness. What happened to my mother? What happened to my mother that she would do that to me? What happened to my father that he would do that to me? I had to see them before they were ill and see the illness that had been dumped on them. At the end, I would call my mom every day. I hear these guys talk about amends. You know, I made amends to my mom, but it wasn't enough. For me, it was not enough. When my daughters started getting loaded and I got a taste of my own business, that's when I really went back to my mom and I said, I'm really sorry now. How did you do this? And she said, sweetheart, I laid in bed and prayed that you wouldn't die. My mother was not a religious woman. When my mom said that to me, I realized I owed her more. And for the last 20 years of my mother's life, I called her every morning, no matter where I was in the world. I said, Mom, I just want to say that I love you and I'm okay. I was sitting in a meeting in Laguna Beach at the Canyon Club when my mother died, and I went clean. It was clean. There was no hurt, no law. It was just, I was square with her. And it's so funny because that her little codependent stuff had never left. You've never caused me a problem ever, dear. You're my favorite of all my children. So anyway, but it took a long time. It took a long time. And I'm a better dad than my father was to my kids. It's funny, I'm the emotional support parent. They don't come to me for financial advice, nor romantic advice, but they'll come for a cuddle, because I'm that parent. Anyway. All right? Yeah.
I thought this was a comedy show, and then I realized it got a little dark. I was like, who's AA?
Yes. You're welcome. It's not that funny if you're with me all day long. It's amusing now. People normally clap when I get out of the car. Yes.
Now, what was your, can you talk about your bottom and your desperation? Your desperation?
Yeah, my bottom, I was sober. It's like going to jail, that's not a bottom, it's fun. You know what I mean? It's like, come on. You know what I mean? I remember pulling up at my buddy's house and said, who wants to go to jail? Hour later, my car was getting towed, that was not a bottom. That was not the bottom. My bottom, and I hope that it's the bottom of many people in Alcoholics Anonymous, my bottom was realizing that I was gonna go again and there wasn't a damn thing I could do to stop it. That was my bottom. To know that this head, and I see it, and I know you've seen it. How many times you work with somebody new, they go, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna blah, 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 I'm gonna do that. It's like they mean it with all their heart. They get hurt, they take a beating, an ass whip, and they come back with all my heart, I mean it. Well, okay. A couple days later, they don't mean it so much. A week later, they barely mean it at all. A month later, it's gone, forgotten, done. They do it again, over and over again. My bottom was realizing that I was gonna walk. Think about that. Do you like your life? Are you happy with your life? Is it good? Think, look at your life, put it right in front of you, look at it, and then realize with all your heart that that same guy that loves this life is gonna say bye-bye to it and kick it all to the curb. That was my bottom, and it didn't have a damn thing to do with slitting my wrists or going to jail or any of that crap. It was that I was gonna shit can this. And I've seen it. I've seen it. I have seen people tank this with 40, 50 years of sobriety and tank this. I believe that for the new person that's in there, here, their 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, whatever the hell it is, has gotta be as priceless as my 35 years. They gotta hold that as priceless, because when it's priceless, you'll do anything to keep it, anything. Yes?
So, once you got sober, how many years were you sober until you got emotional?
How many years was I sober until I got emotionally sober? I should ask my girlfriend. I'm working on it. It's so funny. I love the pause when agitated. I'm a pause after agitated. But I will, so let me I tell you this real quick, because I'm sure we got to be done, right? Should I be out of here? It's like a bad Twilight Zone. It just keeps going. I think this guy in a suit. This episode's called Man in a Suit, No Tie. All right. I got 2 daughters. My oldest daughter was living with me. She was mostly with her mom, but she came to live with me. Now we got a garage out back, and then that was her little, that's where she was living, in the garage. We got a little beach pad. It's killer. She's in the back, right? So one day, she's like 8 years old, and I want to see what the kids are doing. So she's got a year, she doesn't have a year more sober than me. She's 36, so I'm 8, really, about. And I go out to see what the kids are doing, and I go and turn the garage door, and it's locked. And I go, hey, open up, it's your dad. And I hear, he's outside. He's outside. I go, whoa. Open up, dear. It's Dad. Just a minute, Dad. Hide that stuff under the couch. Put it on the couch. Don't even blow that out. Blow it out. Whoa. I go, let's go. Open up. I'm starting to get mad. I'm a very aggressive, violent person. And I'm starting to get agitated. And they're going, just a minute. And now I'm losing it. I'm getting turned out by a pair of 8-year-olds. Now I'm pounding on the door. I'm feared in 50 states. Open it. Just screaming crazy. And I grew up where the rope, tied up, thrown in my bedroom, scalped by my mom with shears, beaten until I was bleeding, violence, hate, anger. And I come in there, and they finally open up that door, and the smell of smoke and cheap perfume comes out of there. I'm like, they're smoking! And I'm so full of rage, so full of hate, so full of anger, and somebody's getting their ass beat for this. And I look across the room, and I see my beautiful daughter's little face looking at me. And she was terrified. And I looked at her, and I said, oh, God, please don't let me hurt this little girl. Please don't let me hurt this little girl, please. And I went directly to God. Damn you sponsors that make these new people depend on you by supplanting God, standing between them and God. Getting in everything they do, every move. You don't teach them to go to God. You don't teach them to reach inside. You teach them to go to you. I used to have a trainer at the gym. He did my lifting for me. A year later, he was in great shape. I was fat as shit. But thank God, I was raised by people that said, what do you think about that, Jack? How does that feel for you? Where is that at? They made me go inside. And when I sat there and saw my daughter's face, I said, please help me, please help me, please help me. God, or whatever it was, stepped in, took away all the anger, took away all that rage for that moment, just for that moment. And I looked at that little girl and I said, sweetheart, I love you. I love you so much. I go, let me tell you what happened to me when I started rolling smokes. And I talked to her like one alcoholic talking to another. I talked to her with love, with kindness, with empathy, sympathy. And then I looked at her and said, now clean this shit up and get your ass inside. Now, when I walked out of the garage, I thought, what happened in there, man? What was that? I thought I didn't walk in there and say, I caught you rolling smokes. I'm gonna give you cancer. I'm gonna give you AIDS. I'm gonna make you burn in hell for the rest of your life. I said, I caught you rolling smokes and I love you. I love you. And at that moment I thought, if I love this little girl, that I would never hurt a hair on her head. And at any time if she ever said, Father, please, and put her hands out, I would pick her up and hold her. I thought, if I'm a human being that loves that little girl so much, how much does God love me? It was crazy. I had a warmth come over me. It was like a couple of Valiums on a Christmas Eve. It was beautiful. And I just want to thank you for having me. Thank you.